So we're here with my friend Joe. It's like the Joe and Joe show. And we're both wearing the flannels and the jeans and
the chucks.
Converse. Yes, yes. I just don't have glasses. But anyway, so he brought a couple of cabinets, and we're gonna check them out and just kind of see how they sound. And you were saying about this speaker here playing it clean. What was that?
Yeah, so it's when I read about this particular speaker. So it's a Warehouse Guitar. It's an Alnico. Their Blackhawk series.
So it's like a Celestion Gold, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And the one thing that they were talking about this speaker is it's much better for if you're playing clean signals, and it kind of has its own grit to it. Mm-hmm. So you're not gonna get as much out of what the speaker is able to provide playing overdrive stuff. It's really I would say it's more for a clean type sound that you want to have a little bit of grit to it that's naturally coming out of the speaker. So hopefully we can give it a try, and hopefully we hear some of that grit.
Okay. So thank you for ruining the video. Spoiler alert, I'm not going to play through it clean. I'm playing it with a guitar, just a parts caster. This is an old Duncan dual sound,
okay,
which was the precursor to the Super Distortion.
Okay.
So as you can imagine, it's
not very clean.
It's not very clean. It's a somewhat powerful pickup, and running it into a JCM 800. And we'll start off with my cabinet, and this is just sort of my basic sound. I usually play with a boost in front of it, usually a DoD 250-esque kind of a thing. But we'll check it out first. So this cabinet here is probably my favorite sounding cabinet. Picked it up, used Craigslist. Somebody had it in their basement, and it absolutely reeked of like mold and mildew. It was like for months, it was horrific. I had to open the back, and it just let it air out for like months. But anyway, it's particle board, so nice and sturdy. It's the 900 series, so okay. It's it's what MDF,
yeah,
whatever that is, cheap. But like we were talking about with the first video, everything imparts its own sound, and what makes that sound better. Mm-hmm. Right. So an MDF kind of deadens the sound a bit, and as it turns out, that's exactly what I want.
Sure.
Because in here I have a Marshall branded V30, which sounds a little different than a Celestion V30, but it definitely has a certain sound, the V30 sound. But then the other speaker that I have in here is the G12K85, and that is an extremely neutral speaker. If you Google it, everybody online is like, if you want just the sound of your guitar and amp, that's the speaker, because it does not color the sound. So this, kind of being an extremely neutral, it doesn't, have that sort of sound of like a pine, that you brought with you here, that really kind of, the cabinet colors the sound. Mm-hmm. This really doesn't.
Yeah.
So as it turns out, it's pretty much like exactly, what I was looking for. But anyway, so, let's check it out. So that's what I have for my cab. And then we're going to plug it into, it's a 212, we're going to plug it into your 112 that you brought. And it has the Warehouse Blackhawk. And, let's see just how they sound. And both of them are 8 ohms, so that works out nice. And of course, 212 and 112 are going to sound different, but oh well. We're not scientists.
Yeah.
So I'll just play some basic chords and stuff. Okay, now we'll plug it into your cab and see how it sounds. Oh, look at that, just one.
It's super simple.
Yes. This cabinet has 2, one of them for stereo, you know, so you
Yep,
can
yep.
have the two speakers separate, and even that is like too confusing for me. I always have to look to see, make sure I'm plugging into the correct 8 ohm, you know. But okay, so let's check out this. Okay, so any differences?
I don't know, like that grit that I was talking about.
Yeah.
You can sort of still hear it, and I guess, you know, to me this is definitely more bitey, which
Yeah.
is, you know, lining up exactly with what you were saying about this one kind of having a dampened sort of feel.
Yeah.
And for me, I can definitely hear the contrast between that sort of dampened feel that you're looking for versus
Mhm.
something that it's a lot more bitey or higher pitched tone. It's got a sharper tone, and
Yeah.
I would say an almost it's almost unpleasant, where I think that I would probably, you know, adjust some of the dials if it
Right.
if I was going to use that head with this to sort of taking some of that sharpness
Yeah.
out of it.
Right, which of course, you know, not to be defensive, would make this even less scientific.
Right.
You know, if we were to dial up, you know, a sound for this cabinet and then plug into that, change everything,
Oh yeah, right.
you know,
Yep.
and now it'd be like, you know, hey, there we are, you know. So yeah, but okay, because there's definitely a different mid-range characteristic to this.
Mhm.
It sounds, to me, less focused.
Okay.
To me.
Okay.
And of course, there's a difference where we're standing,
Yeah, that's
you know,
true,
where
too.
we're sitting. Because I don't know if you ever noticed, like if you stand right in front of a speaker, you get like a lot of, say, like highs and stuff, like
Yeah.
right off the cone and everything. And if you stand at like an angle to the cone, to the front of the speaker, you can get a drastically different EQ curve, basically. Yeah. So that can have a lot to do with it too. Okay. So let's swap back and see, you know, if what we're hearing, because it sounds like we're hearing a kind of almost opposite stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I wonder if there's some bias.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
You know,
Yeah.
because I mean, it's like, you know, a 112 in a pine cabinet,
Mhm.
to me, is like screaming, you know, like a you know, Fender combo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 212 in like a big Marshall and it's
Yep.
black, you
Right.
know, instead of, you know, stained wood. You know, I don't know if that's altering anything.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so let's check it out. Okay, and I'll just play an A chord,
Sure. Yeah.
you know, so that we kind of, and I'll try to swap really fast so that we don't have too much of a lag between.
So let me put my guitar down, and then you'll play, we'll put it
Good
down,
idea.
and then
Awesome
we'll
idea.
shorten that time span.
Awesome idea. Just watch your head on this
Oh
here.
yeah, yep.
Okay, so on this it goes into the thing over on the left, your right. Okay, so hold on, put it back in there. Okay, so we'll try this and then
Yep.
swap it
So
over.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, but just to make sure that I'm going into
The one closest to this side.
the one.
There's two of them.
Ha.
Okay.
This one.
No, down here.
Oh, I'm sorry, because my brain is not working. So I'm going to the. Yep.
Yes.
I gotcha.
Okay, so this is your cab. Okay, now my cab. Yeah, I'm still hearing the same thing. That sounds like a really kind of mid-rangey kind of, you know, which would help it cut a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this I'm hearing more bass, and you know that just makes sense with 212s
Yeah.
in a larger cabinet and a closed back.
Yep.
It sounds more focused to me. Okay, what
Yeah.
are you hearing?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Still
when
the same?
I was I think the way that I was explaining myself before wasn't fully getting out what I was trying to say. So I think I'm more, the intent of what I was trying to say was like to me the bite is I think that bite is probably what you're describing as that mid-range, because what I'm hearing is, and like the cutting that you're talking about,
Yeah.
I am hearing that, and maybe I'm describing it wrong, but for sure, like I'm getting much more of a bass sound out of this one.
Yeah.
So
And this is louder.
oh, for sure.
I mean, 212s.
Yep.
You know, and closed back is going to help it to be louder.
Yep.
And the two speakers in here, I believe, are, if not higher sensitivity, which is going to make them, you know, louder. If not higher sensitivity, definitely EQ'd in such a way to seem louder. You know, because the human ear perceives different frequencies at different, you know, so like that's why like a bass amp is like massive and like 400 watts and stuff, just to keep up with a 50-watt guitar amp, because of the frequencies.
Right.
You know, the lower frequencies need way more power to get to a certain volume. But, so, you stay there and I'm gonna swap them and see, you know, if you're still hearing the same stuff.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, like that's definitely a bassier tone, and I'm getting
I am hearing a little more high-end grit.
out of this.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're right.
okay.
You're right.
And I think also too, part of the fact of this being open back and getting some of that
The reflection.
reverberation off the wall,
Right, yeah.
is I think also adding to some of that cut that I'm hearing.
Mhm.
But I think we're starting to come along saying the similar things.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I mean, I find so much of it has to do with the feel.
Mhm.
You know, like, I know that we were talking, I can just feel the neck on a guitar and go, nope, that neck isn't for me. Nope, that. And then once I find one that's like, okay, the neck is okay. Now, no, the unplugged tone isn't what I'm looking for. So I know, like, I can narrow it down from like 50 guitars to like 2 that might work. Then plug them in and see, you know, where it goes from there. So I don't know where I was going with all of that.
Well, I think some of it too, right, is
But you know, and it's certainly not better or worse. It's just two different.
It's two different
you know,
sounds,
yeah.
and I mean the other thing too, right, is you have this cabinet because you like this cabinet, you like the tones that cabinet makes.
Right.
So
Anything different is not this
isn't
cabinet.
this cabinet, right?
Right. I always have students that, you know, like, hey, look what I got for Christmas, and you know, it's like a 9, 10, you know, $900, $1,000, $1,100, $1,200, you know, American Strat or something, you know, and I'm playing like a Squire that I got for $140. You know, that I love. I have guitars that are very inexpensive that I absolutely love. And they come in and they're like, you know, here, try it. Like, you know, is it awesome? And I'm like, yeah, it's great. And it's like, the neck is so totally wrong for me, and the tone is so totally wrong for me, and like everything, you know, and it's just like, it's what works for you.
Right.
So then I always have like students, they're like, you know, like, is it better than your guitar? And it's like, of course not. Of course not. Because do you know how many guitars I've gone through to find that one favorite?
Right.
Okay, like I'm saying, you know, this head and cabinet is the sound I want. Like, do you know how many amps I've gone through, how many speaker cabinets, how many raw speakers have been swapped in and out of this cabinet once I discovered I seem to like this cabinet. Now let's see exactly which speakers. So I'm pulling them out of the other cabinets to put into here, you know, to then go, well, you know, is it better? Like, it's certainly different, and since this took forever to find, no,
Yeah, yeah.
It's not better.
Yeah, no, and
You know,
I wasn't.
To me, no, I know, but you know, like I know,
good,
you know,
I'm gonna
pe-
get one of those now.
right, you know, but like people watching the video, you know, like, okay, so it's different, but, you know, and?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it clearly sounds like you like that better.
I like it in certain use cases, and I mean, frankly, playing a high gain head, I like your cabinet better.
Yeah.
But if we were playing all clean, and I clearly I misheard you before, I thought we were gonna start playing some clean stuff. But
No. People can watch some other video.
yeah. but I mean, if I was playing, you know, if I wanted to listen to, if I was gonna play a high gain amp, I'd play it through here.
Yeah.
If I was gonna play some clean stuff, I'd play it through here, and that's why I have both. I've played high gain stuff through this to hear how it sounds and to this, and that's and going back to your earlier thing, right? When I want to play high gain stuff, of the two things that I own, this one I like better,
Right.
so I'll use that one.
You have gear for that sound.
Exactly.
Right, and then you have gear for a different sound.
Exactly.
I have gear for just my one sound.
Fair.
But, so, running high gain, you would go through that
I
cab.
would.
What a great segue.
Isn't it?
Let's try out that cab.
Sounds like a plan.